So in last class, what we have done is we have understood the basic definition of mechanics and a force. Are you with me, Ashish?
Yes.
Now, today we are trying to give the complete description of a force. And how do we do that? So for that, what we have considered is a body which I have drawn arbitrarily. That doesn't mean that it is amoeba. It is any body for which I am not interested in its shape and size. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. And then on this body at point A and at point B, I have shown two forces acting, P and Q respectively. Both the forces have same description as far as mathematics is concerned. Let us say that this is x-axis. Let us say that this is y-axis, and coming out of the plane of board towards you is z-axis. And I cap, j cap, and k cap are unit vectors along x, y, and z positive directions respectively. Are you with me, Ashish?
Yes.
So P is equal to 20 I cap plus 40 J cap plus 60 K cap Newton. So as a mathematician, I should be happy with this description of a force. I have expressed its magnitude. So what will be the magnitude of P? It will be square root of 20 square plus 40 square plus 60 square Newton. So I have expressed the magnitude of a force in specified system of units. And this I cap, J cap, and K cap, these coefficients of I cap, J cap, and K cap also tell us about the direction of the force. Do you agree with me, Ashish?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now at point B also there is force Q, which can be represented by the same thing. So someone has asked why. So did not get the question. Why what?
सर सॉरी सर ये प्राइवेट में जाना था इसलिए गलती से ग्रुप में चला गया
Okay, no problem. Now Q is also given by the uh, expression 20 I cap plus 40 J cap plus 60 K cap. And also it is expressed in newtons. So therefore, as far as a mathematician is concerned, P and Q are same. Do you agree with me, Ashish?
Yes.
Okay, but are they same? Are their effects on all points of the body are different? Are you with me?
Yes.
And why are the effects different? Because simple example, because of this force P, a pull will be experienced at point A of the body, whereas all other points will not experience any pull. Whereas if you consider force Q, a pull will be experienced at point B, whereas all other points on the body will not experience that pull. So even if you consider these 2 points, the effects of these two forces at these 2 points are different. Do you agree with me? Yes, Ashish. Ashish, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Keep yourself unmuted because I want to interact and then proceed. Otherwise, I won't get a clue whether the point has been understood or not. So P and Q, these are mathematically equal forces, but as a physicist, I am not happy because their effects on all other points of the body are different. So what is the differentiation? So if I were to describe a force completely, what is the additional thing that I have to specify in addition to this description of 20 I cap plus 40 J cap plus 60 K cap? What do you think, Ashish? What is that extra thing that I need to specify? Yes, Ashish. Am I audible? Uh, okay, am I audible? Ashish?
Yes, sir.
So was my voice lost in between?
Yes, sir. Because the
Okay,
first
so yeah, so what I was asking is if I were to describe a force completely, in addition to this description, 20 I cap plus 40 j cap plus 60 k cap, what else should we specify? What do you think?
Position.
Position. So somebody said position, but what we describe these points A and B as points of applications. Are you with me? I am going to denote it by a shorthand notation POA. So what is POA? Point of application of a force. Are you with me, Ashish? I don't know if there is a problem with my audio, or Aditya, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So we call these points A and B as points of applications of forces P and Q. So to distinguish between a force P bar and Q bar, I have, apart from description 20 I cap plus 40 J cap plus 60 K cap, this description is same for both the forces, but points of applications are different. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, for a complete description of a force, it is not enough to give coefficients of I cap, J cap, and K cap and a system of unit, but it is also essential to prescribe or their points of applications. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I am going to consider another force like this. And I am going to call this force as R bar. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now to describe this R bar, if you look at this R bar, it is going to have the same description as 20 I cap plus 40 J cap plus 60 K cap. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, mathematically, force R bar and P bar are equal. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And I have also asked you to specify point of application. It happens so that the point of application of R bar and P bar is same. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So mathematically they are equal. Their point of application is also same. But are these two forces equal? Physically? Yes. Tell me, Aditya. What do you think?
Should be. The direction is the same. Their point of application and their magnetic field.
No, when a physicist is as far as the physicist is concerned, imagine force P bar acting at A. Is it pulling point A or is it pushing point A? Tell me.
Okay, okay. It's pulling.
Pulling. And now if you look at force R bar, is it pushing point A or is it pulling point A?
Question.
So therefore, there is still some difference between P bar and R. So it is not enough to specify only point of application. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So first of all, you need to specify 20 I cap plus 40 J cap plus 60 K cap. That is first thing. Second, you need to specify something called as point of application of a force, and you also need to specify sense of a force towards point of application. Do you agree with me? Aditya?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, sense is either pushing or pulling. So you should specify point of application. You should also specify what is the sense of a force towards that point, whether it is pushing or pulling the body at that point. So this all together, they give complete description of a force. Now we will try to dig into the first description, that is 20 I cap plus 40 J cap plus 60 K cap. What exactly it tells you? If you consider a reference line, let us say I consider this line as a reference line, then angle made by this force with reference to that reference line, or it is also called as orientation of line of application of force. Orientation, I will write it first and then I will explain. Orientation of line of application or line of action of a force. So what does line of action or line of application of a force mean? Let us say you are considering a force P bar. If I extend this P bar on this side till infinity, and on the other side till infinity, the line that I get is called as line of application of force P bar. Are you with me, Aditya?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you look at P bar and Q bar, the orientation of line of application with reference to, let us say, x-axis is same. If you look at P bar and R bar, orientation of its line of action with reference to a reference axis, let us say x, is same. Similarly, if you consider the angles of line of action of P bar, R bar and Q bar made with y and z axis respectively, they are also going to be same, because this description 20 I cap plus 40 j cap plus 60 k cap is same for all the forces. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the complete description of a force? You need to specify, in mathematical terms, you need to specify magnitude and direction. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So magnitude has to be specified in the chosen system of units. So as far as mathematician is concerned, magnitude is to be specified in terms of specified system of units. But as far as the physicist is considered, direction splits into three parts. One is you must specify orientation of line of application of a force. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
सो डायरेक्शन का मतलब क्या होता है? तीन चीजें आपको स्पेसिफाई करनी है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, ओरिएंटेशन ऑफ लाइन ऑफ एक्शन ऑफ फोर्स with reference to the chosen coordinate system. Second, you need to specify point of application of this force on the body. And third, you must specify the sense of the force towards the point of application. ये तीनों चीजें मिलकर डायरेक्शन बनती है. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So mathematically, force is a vector quantity. Specifying its magnitude and direction is enough. But as a physicist, we must specify its magnitude in specified system of units, orientation of its line of action with reference to the coordinate system, point of application and sense. ये चारों चीजें जब हम specify करेंगे, तो force completely describe हो गया, ऐसे हम कहेंगे. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have now understood what is a force. We have also understood what is the complete description of force. Now let us try to address a question of mathematical operations on the force. For example, addition of forces. How do you add forces? Is the next question that we are going to try and answer. So Aditya, do you have any idea how do we add forces? Let us say you have two forces acting on a body. One force is P bar. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And another force is Q bar. So these are the two forces acting on a body. Now, first of all, tell me, where is the body? Body किधर है इसमें?
वो उनका tail जिस point पे
But
attach करो.
yes. So
Continue.
at the point of intersection of these two forces, this is the body, and I have idealized the body as a particle. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So the shape and size of the body has been shrunk. It has idealized it to be a point. It is located. It is as if a particle. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are two forces acting on a body. One is P bar, another is Q bar. How do you add these forces? Can you tell me?
So you use the magnitude as well as the angle between those two forces.
Yes.
So you want the formula,
Which formula?
vector addition.
And how do you do vector addition graphically? Can you tell me? Because the formula is derived based on the graphical notation of addition
Okay,
of two vectors.
okay. See, what you do is you draw another Q and another P parallel to each other. You form a
Okay.
rectangle, and the diagonal of the rectangle is the sum.
Is it a rectangle or is it a parallelogram?
It's a parallelogram, but sometimes it can be a rectangle.
Sometimes. If the angle between two forces is 90 degree, then it is
90
rectangle.
degree.
Otherwise, this is what you are saying. I have completed the parallelogram. So what I have done is I have drawn a line parallel to line of action of P bar starting from the tip of Q bar. And I have drawn a line parallel to Q bar starting from the tip of P bar. And I have completed this parallelogram. Now what should I do next? Yeah.
So draw diagonal.
Okay, I have drawn the diagonal. There are two diagonals. Which one?
The one from the body to the opposite side.
Yeah, so the one that passes through the point of intersection of line of action of these two forces. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And now what should I do? What
Just
is the addition
find
of
the-
P bar? Is it
Uh,
like this? Is it towards the point of application or away from the point of application?
away from the point of application.
So do you are saying that this, if I call this as R bar,
Yes,
then R bar is equal to P bar plus Q bar. That's what you are saying, right?
yes, sir, but not the scalar addition. Like you don't just add the magnitude of it.
Done. No, when we are adding, we are doing this geometric construction, we are adding it
Okay,
as a vector.
okay, okay,
Do you agree with me?
okay. Yes, sir.
So I think everyone here believes that this is the addition of two vectors, and force being a vector, we should add forces in this fashion. Is there anyone who disagrees? No. So now I'm going to ask you a question. Why do you believe that this is the addition of two forces? Yes, Aditya. Why do you believe this?
I was taught this they taught this
Pardon?
in 11th.
No,
They
I
taught
couldn't.
us this. They taught this to us in 11th. This was the addition. Like, they didn't give
Yeah,
much
so
of
you were taught how to add vectors, and then you were introduced force in physics, and you were told that forces are vectors. So उनको add करो जैसे vector add होता है. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
I say you है ना. Now I am going to
हाँ,
challenge that. Means why do you think that forces or vectors are to be added in this fashion? For example, if you believe this construction, do you agree with me that this parallelogram is a geometrical construction?
yes, sir.
Okay, so if you believe one geometrical construction, you can as well believe another geometric construction. For example, I will tell you this is P bar plotted to the scale. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And this is Q bar. This is also plotted to the scale. What you do is draw perpendicular bisector of this line. Can you draw perpendicular bisector? Yes. We are equipped with all the instruments and knowledge of drawing the perpendicular bisector. Then I will ask you to draw the perpendicular bisector of Q bar as well. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is equal to this and this is equal to this. So I have drawn the perpendicular bisectors. Wherever these perpendicular bisectors meet each other, draw a line like this and call this as the addition of two forces. So call this R1 bar. And now I ask you to call R1 bar as P bar plus Q. If you believe this geometric construction, why don't you believe this geometric construction is my argument? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Anyone has an answer for this? We have simply believed a geometric construction called as parallelogram law to define addition of forces or vectors. Then I will ask you believe another geometric construction and call it as P bar plus Q bar. Okay, so let me take views of students on this. So Bhumija, can you unmute yourself? Bhumija,
Yes, sir.
yes. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So will you believe that this is R1 bar is equal to P bar plus Q bar? Yes, Bhumija.
No, sir.
And why not? Because you anyway believed one form of geometrical construction without questioning. है ना, हम लोगों को सिखाया गया 11th 12th standard में vectors are added using parallelogram law. Force is a vector, so add them using parallelogram law. But if you can believe that construction, what is the hindrance in believing the another form of construction and adopting it as P bar plus Q is the question. At least have you got the philosophical argument?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let us go back to Aditya. Now, Aditya, what we are going to do is we are going to do a thought experiment. And this experiment has been already conducted by scientists and researchers all across the world during early 17th century. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
What is that experiment? So imagine Experiment may not be the exactly same, but I am just giving you the glimpse. Let us perform a thought experiment. I have a striker kept on the carom board. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And to this striker, I have attached two strings. This is string 1 and this is string 2. And the striker rests on the carom board where I can assume the friction to be negligible. So it is resting on a frictionless surface. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Frictionless surface. Okay. Now I pull this string by force, which is P bar. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And let us take some numbers now. Let us say this P bar is equal to 50 Newton. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So the magnitude of this P bar is 50 Newton and direction is as shown. Then let us say Q bar is the force applied to the other string and its magnitude is 30 Newton. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And it is in the direction as shown. So I have specified the two forces that I have applied to this string. Now, first let us define what do we mean by addition of forces physically. For example, if I give you a simple example that you have 5 apples and I give you 2 apples, then how many apples do you have? You have total number 7 apples. Scalar addition is very easy to understand. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, there is no issue philosophically as far as the addition of scalar is concerned. Now, what exactly do we mean when we say that I have to add forces P bar and Q bar acting on this track? इसका पहले philosophical मतलब क्या है वो देख समझने की कोशिश करते हैं. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So what am I going to do? I want to find out now a single force by which I will replace this P bar and Q bar. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So replace P bar and Q bar by a single force. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
That single force I am going to call it as R bar. What should be the characteristic of R bar so that I can say R bar is addition of P bar and Q bar? R bar should produce exactly the same effect on all points of body as P bar and Q bar together were producing. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So if and only if. So therefore, this is the notation for if and only if. If and only if R bar produces same effect where not only on a point of application, on all points of body. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
All points of body as the pair of forces P bar and Q bar were producing. Only and only if R bar satisfies this condition, then I am going to call R bar as the addition of P bar plus Q bar. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So we have now defined philosophically the addition. A single force R bar that will produce exactly the same amount of exactly the same effect on all points of the body as the pair of forces P bar and Q bar were producing, then I will define philosophically R bar as the addition of P bar and Q bar. Are you happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, if there are more than two forces acting on a body, तो क्या करेंगे? Let us say there is P bar, Q bar, R bar, S bar, T bar, P1 bar, P2 bar, P3 bar, P4 bar up to Pn bar. N forces acting on a body. So what is the addition of all these N forces? I will remove all these N forces and I will replace it by a single force, if that single force produces exactly the same effect on all points of the body as P1 bar to Pn bar were producing together, then I call that R bar as the addition of all the forces. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So it is not merely the addition of two forces. No, it can be any number of forces acting on a body. I can add them. And what is my philosophical definition of addition? A single force that produces the same effect on all points of body as all these forces. I am going to call that single force as its addition. Happy?
Yes, sir.
I hope I am very clear. So now there is one word in this definition or philosophical definition of addition, and that is effect. So we are trying to understand now what is the effect of force. बोलो force का effect क्या है? Yes, Aditya.
Sir, the displacement उसके direction में.
Yes. So the very first effect that a force is likely to display on the object is the displacement or movement in the direction of force. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
What is the other effect? Acceleration. Do you agree with me?
Acceleration.
Newton's first law देखो, every body continues to remain in its state of rest or of uniform motion unless it is acted upon by an external agency called as force. So what are the effects of forces? If a body is at rest, the force will try to move it in the direction of the force. If body is moving with a uniform velocity, a force will try to deflect either magnitude or direction of that velocity. These are the effects of forces. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, look at the Newton's second law, algebraic sum of all the forces. वहां पे sum आता है, so sum वही हम define करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, addition. Algebraic sum of all the forces in a particular direction is equal to rate of change of momentum if mass is constant, that is equal to mass into acceleration in that direction. So what is the effect of addition of forces? It is going to cause the body to accelerate. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So we have understood the effects of forces. Now let us stretch our thought experiment bit more. Now tell me, as there are two forces acting on the body P bar and Q bar, what is the tendency of P bar? P bar will try to move this striker in its own direction. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Q bar will try to move this striker in its own direction. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So will you see striker moving in both directions simultaneously, or will you see the striker moving in some other direction?
Some other direction.
Some other direction. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, can you observe the direction in which the striker is moving? You have applied P bar equal to 50 Newton in the shown direction. You have applied Q bar equal to 30 Newton in the same direction. Now, question, can you observe the direction of motion of striker experimentally? कर सकते हो observe? Aditya?
हाँ, sir.
Yes. And how do you observe that direction of motion experimentally? So you can keep on clicking photographs from, pardon? Am I audible, Aditya?
Yes, yes, sir. You are.
So you can keep on taking photographs from a camera which is located at a fixed location, and you may observe that the striker is moving in this direction. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then superimpose all those photos one over the other. Join the lines of centroid of this striker, and you will see a line along which the striker moves. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So it is experimental observation. There is no challenge for this experimental observation. It has been observed experimentally. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, so what is the effect of P bar and Q bar together acting on the striker? What is the effect? It makes the striker move along this direction, which I have marked in red arrow. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So now, resultant R bar. So if I were to remove this P bar and Q bar, and I have to replace them by a single force R bar, that R bar should also have tendency to move the striker along this direction, which is marked by red arrow. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so by the very philosophical definition of R bar must produce the same effect as P bar and Q bar together. Therefore, R bar also must tend to move the striker along this line. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, if R bar is the single force acting on a body, isn't it natural that the striker will move in the direction of R bar? Do you agree with
Yes,
me?
sir.
So
Yes, sir.
therefore, by this argument, I get the R bar must be oriented along this direction. So this is the R bar's direction. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And how did I obtain the direction of R bar? I did not propose any theory. I did not propose any geometrical construction. Nothing. I simply observed an experiment. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
सो एक्सपेरिमेंट करके देखा है कि पी बार अगर 50 न्यूटन का ऐसे लगाता हूँ और क्यू बार 30 न्यूटन का ऐसे लगाता हूँ तो स्ट्राइकर मूव्स अलोंग द डायरेक्शन व्हिच इज मार्क्ड इन रेड एरो. सो आई मेक ए स्टेटमेंट बाय फिलोसॉफिकल डेफिनेशन ऑफ आर बार मस्ट बी डायरेक्टेड अलोंग दिस लाइन. हैप्पी?
Yes, sir.
And now what I am going to do is I want to now measure the magnitude of R bar experimentally. क्या करना है अभी? R bar का जो मैग्नीट्यूड है वो एक्सपेरिमेंटली मेजर करना है. हैप्पी?
Yes, sir.
सो एक्सपेरिमेंट क्या किया है जरा देखो यहाँ पे. हाउ डू आई एक्सपेरिमेंटली मेजर दिस R bar? सो आई हैव टू रिप्लेस दिस P bar and Q bar by R bar so that the R bar is summation of P bar and Q bar. Happy? And
Yes, sir.
the striker therefore is moving in this direction that has been experimentally observed. Now when you click the photographs, can you also note the times? Let us say I have taken this photograph at time instant t1. I have taken this photograph at time instant t2. Then I have taken the photograph at time instant t3. ये measure कर सकते हैं experimentally?
Yes, sir.
कर सकते हैं. Now can I also therefore find out the distances? This is s1, this is s2, this is s3. ये distances भी measure कर सकते हैं. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now question I am going to ask is, can you measure the velocity of the striker at all these instants t1, t2 and t3? Yes, easily. There are ways. कैसे s1 upon t1 will be the average velocity at time instant t1. s2 upon t2 minus t1 will be the average velocity at time instant t2. At time instant t3, average velocity will be s3 minus s2. Sorry, s3 upon t3 minus t2. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, can you find out the accelerations at this time instant? Yes, we can measure the acceleration by knowing the change in velocity. We know the velocity at t2, we know velocity at t1. What is the acceleration? v2 minus v1 upon t2 minus t1. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So acceleration, is it experimentally measurable quantity? Yes. So I can measure the acceleration of this object along this direction. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
As this is along the direction of R bar, I am going to call it as AR. Acceleration along this direction. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And you will observe to your surprise that this acceleration remains constant. Experimentally observe किया है, ये experiment करके देखा जा सकता है. Are you with me?
हाँ.
Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what I have done, I have replaced this P bar and Q bar only by R bar. Are you with me? And now I am going to take summation of all the forces acting in the direction of R bar, which is this direction, which is marked by red arrow, observed experimentally. So what are all forces acting on a striker in this direction? Only R bar. Do you agree with me? Because I have replaced P bar and Q bar by R bar. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And by Newton's second law, what should be the sum? Summation of all the forces acting on a body in R bar direction must be equal to force R multiplied by, it must be equal to mass into acceleration. Do you agree with me? So mass of the striker, can it be measured experimentally? Yes. And what is the acceleration of the striker? It is measured experimentally as AR. So this M into AR must be equal to R bar. Do you agree with me? Aditya, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Summation of all the forces acting in R bar's direction is only R bar. That must be equal to mass into acceleration in that direction, M into R. Both these quantities are experimentally measured. So do I know the magnitude of R bar? Magnitude of R bar is now known. Happy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can I plot this magnitude of R bar to the chosen scale on this line? Yes. Let us say this is the when I plot the magnitude of R bar on this line by the chosen scale, this is the point that I get. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And now, if you join this point with tips of P and Q bar, to your surprise, that turns out to be parallelogram. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And therefore, I have no choice than believing that forces do get added up by something called as parallelogram, because I have experimentally observed the addition. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, my belief in parallelogram law of addition of forces is not just because I was taught to add vectors in this fashion. No, it was in fact the reverse way. First of all, in the sense, researchers have conducted experiments of this kind, and they observed that if I were to replace P bar and Q bar by its addition R bar such that it produces the same effect on body as P bar and Q bar were producing, that R bar turns out to be the product of construction called as parallelogram. Are you with me? Aditya, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, this definition of addition of forces is based on the experimental observation. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So such numerous experiments were carried out at various places in our universe with various masses of the object, various values of P bar and Q bar. Every time R bar turned out to be R bar turned out to be the diagonal of parallelogram and with this nature. So therefore, we now believe, but based on our experimental observations, that the forces do get added up by something called as parallelogram law. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, all other quantities which do obey the experimentally the addition of this nature, they were clubbed together and later on they were given the name vector. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
तो फोर्स के जैसे सारे क्वांटिटीज, फॉर एग्जांपल वेलोसिटी, एक्सेलरेशन, which were proven to be getting added up experimentally by parallelogram law, were clubbed together and they were given the name vectors. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And then you define that vectors are added up like with a parallelogram. So it's the reverse process. Physics first and then mathematical definition of vectors and their addition. Are you with me? अगर फोर्सेस ही इस तरीके से ऐड नहीं होते तो फिर वेक्टर्स डिफाइन करके फायदा ही नहीं था जो पैरेललोग्राम लॉ से ऐड होते हैं. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I'm going to make one more point now. Does this addition of forces have any other proof than experiment? एक्सपेरिमेंट को छोड़ के कोई और प्रूफ है क्या? नो. आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
हाँ. Therefore, this parallelogram law of addition of forces is called as one of the fundamental axioms of mechanics. Are you with me?
Sir.
What is axiom?
I agree.
Axiom is a statement which doesn't have any analytical mathematical proof. It is based on experimental observation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
For example, law of gravitation is the another axiom of mechanics, that if there are two bodies separated by distance r between their center of masses and the bodies have masses m1 and m2, the gravitational pull or gravitational force of attraction between the two masses is proportional to product of their masses and inversely proportional to square of distance between their center of masses. So it is proportional to m1 m2 upon r square. Do you know this law of gravitation?
Yes, sir.
This gravitation law doesn't have any proof other than experiments. Experiment करके ही ये पता चला है. So therefore, as it doesn't have any mathematical proof or any analytical proof, we are going to call that law also as axiom. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
What are the other axioms of mechanics? All the Newton's three laws are axioms. Every body continues to remain in its state of rest or of uniform motion unless it is acted upon by an external agency called as force. Who says that? Experimental observations. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, that this law is an axiom. What is Newton's second law? Tell me. Algebraic sum of all the forces acting in a particular direction must be equal to rate of change of momentum of that body in that direction. किसने बताया? How do you know? Only through experiments. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Newton's third law. Every action has equal and opposite reaction. किसने बताया? Experiments. So all Newton's three laws are axioms. Law of addition of forces, that is parallelogram law of addition of force, is another axiom. तो कितने हुए? Total axiom 4 हुए. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
There is one more axiom, that is law of gravitation. If there are two masses spaced in a vacuum, m1 and m2, separated by distance r, the force of attraction between them is proportional to m1 m2 upon r square. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
First of all, there is a force called as gravitational force, force of attraction, and that is proportional to m1 m2 upon r square. All these statements are only experimentally observed. There is no analytical proof for it. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So another axiom is law of gravitation. तो कितने axioms हुए? 3 न्यूटन के लॉ, एक पैरेललोग्राम लॉ ऑफ एडिशन, और एक कौन सा axiom हुआ? लॉ ऑफ ग्रेविटेशन. 5 axioms. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And there is one more, which is called as transmissibility of a force. We are going to discuss that in a while, but there are total 6 axioms of the mechanics. कितने axioms है? So कौन से है? 3 laws, 3 Newton's laws. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then parallelogram law of addition of forces,
Yes, sir.
and then you have something called as law of gravitation,
Yes, sir.
and you have something called as law of transmissibility of a force.
Yes, sir.
So transmissibility of a force हम देखने वाले हैं थोड़े after some time. But these are the 6 axioms based on which all other principles of mechanics have been derived. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So you pick up any principle in applied mechanics, it is derived based on few of these 6 axioms. And these axioms are not to be challenged because they are experimentally observed. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, look at the beauty of this subject. Applied mechanics, in applied mechanics, we ask question why to everything other than these 6 axioms. 6 axioms को पूछना नहीं है. उसका आंसर एक ही है. It is based on the experiments. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So we start with something which doesn't have a reason, and we derive everything else which has a reason based on these 6 things which don't have reason. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if in other universe any one of these 6 axioms is violated, let us say in other universe the gravitational force between the two masses is not proportional to m1 m2 upon r square. It is proportional to m1 square into m2 square upon r cube. Then you will have to derive new theory. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, in our observable universe, all these 6 axioms are found to be true in most of the scenarios. But now we are talking about the Newtonian mechanics. When the objects do approach the speed of light, few of these axioms are compromised. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So even in our universe, when the objects do approach the speed of light, few of these 6 axioms are compromised, and then no longer we can use this mechanics, which is called as Newtonian mechanics. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then we have to use the theory of general relativity and theory of special relativity, Einstein's mechanics. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So even in our universe, there are certain situations when we cannot use Newtonian mechanics. Forget about other universes. So in other universes, it is possible that none of these axioms is true. Then you have to develop a new theory. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the context in which we are looking at the Newtonian mechanics. All of this started with addition of forces. So we have now defined in true spirit what is R bar or addition of P bar and Q bar. And now we are going to define something called as resolution of a force. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So now a quick summary at this stage is going to be beneficial. So I am going to sum up whatever we have done till now. we have defined a force. What is a force? It is action of one body on the other. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then we have said that the notion of body in biology is different than notion of body in physics. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Then we have said that even though force is action of one body on the other, it is not necessary that these two bodies must be in contact. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Then we also said that the forces do not exist in isolation, they exist in pairs. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
तो ये सारी चीजें हमने डिस्कस की है. Somebody had asked some question in chat box. I think I missed that. So can you look and tell me what it is? Okay, let me check. Sir, I have a question. Gaurav. Yes, Gaurav, you can ask. Gaurav, you can unmute and ask, or you can type your question in chat box. I will answer that. So I will wait till you ask the question or type it in chat box. Meanwhile, we will continue with the summary. Are you with me, Aditya?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. The next is once we have understood what is a force, then we went on describing the complete description of force. And we acknowledge the fact that for a mathematician, force is a vector and it is completely described by its magnitude and direction. But as a physicist, we divided direction into three subparts. One is orientation of line of action of force with reference to a chosen coordinate system, then its point of application, and then its sense towards the point of application. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So once we completely described something called as entity called as a force, then we talked about the addition of forces. So addition of forces हमने कैसे define किया philosophically? If there are n number of forces acting on a body, then if I am able to replace all those n number of forces by a single force which produces exactly the same effect as all the system of force on all points of the body, then I am going to call that single force as the addition of all these forces. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then we also discussed in this connection about the axioms of mechanics. There are 6 axioms of mechanics, 3 Newton's laws, then parallelogram law of addition of forces, then law of gravitation, and transmissibility of the force. Transmissibility of the force we need to discuss. But these 6 axioms are the statements which do not have any other proof than experimental observations. So as long as these axioms are valid, we can rely on the theory called as Newtonian mechanics. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, having said that, now we are going to learn a new concept, which I am sure that you have done, but not in the context in which we are going. This is resolution of a force. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So now in resolution of a force, I start asking myself a inverse question. Okay, so I will read out the question given by Gautam for everyone. Sir, in gravitational attraction formula, we use constant capital G. So there is a mathematical intervention, and you said that there is no mathematical intervention in axioms. No, that should not be called as a mathematical intervention, Gaurav. For example, you have two objects in the space, M1 and M2, with absolutely no other planets or nothing else. They are free of gravitation of all other planets. Then these two objects will come closer to one another under the action of gravitational force. This is the observation. And then as they move close to one another, we can measure their accelerations. And from their accelerations, we can know the magnitude of the gravitational force between them by multiplying mass of an object multiplied by its acceleration. So a massive object will move towards a less massive object with smaller acceleration, and a smaller object will move towards the massive object with the greater acceleration, such that product of their mass and acceleration remains constant, and that force is gravitational force. Now if we try to relate that force magnitude wise with reference to their masses m1 m2 and the distance between them, then comes the mathematics, and then we introduce a constant g. So obviously, to put forth a law of gravitational force between the objects, we have taken the help of mathematics. But why should I multiply it by a constant g? Why should that constant not be dependent on time or something else? That observation is experimental. So therefore, we say that statement as axiom. So in the first place, two masses are getting attracted towards one another is the axiom. And then the force of attraction with the help of mathematics obviously is proportional to g m1 m2 upon r square is the axiom. So there is, and I said that there is no mathematical intervention in the axioms. ऐसे मैंने नहीं बोला. I did not say that there is no intervention of mathematics. What I said is there is no analytical and mathematical proof. That means if you were made to sit in a closed laboratory for 24 hours, given a computer which has maximum RAM, and you were asked to derive the relationship between the gravitational force between the two objects, you cannot derive simply by analytical way or mathematical way. You will have to make experimental observations. Then only you will be able to know that it is g m1 m2 upon r square. So I did not say that mathematical intervention won't be there. What I said is merely mathematics and analytical skill will not be sufficient to derive the equation for gravitational force between the two objects. I hope I have made what the definition of axiom clear. Gaurav,
Yes,
you can
sir.
respond? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So now let us go to the resolution of a force. So we have 8 minutes in our hand. That's all right. So I will just give you the glimpse of what is resolution of force, and then we are going to stop. So now अब हमने अभी क्या किया था? We had just added the two forces. Are you with me, Aditya?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now I am going to ask the reverse question. If I know the addition of a force, then what are those two parent forces which have been added to get that force? Is the reverse question that I am asking. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
For example, I am now talking about resolution of a force. Let me say that this is the body which is idealized as a particle. I know that it is acted upon by two forces, and the addition of these two forces is r bar. Now I know r bar. Question: if I know the direction of these two forces, let us say the first force was directed along this direction x1, and the second force is directed along this direction x2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, what must be the magnitude of force along x1 and what must be the magnitude of force along x2 acting on this body such that its addition is r bar? अगर मैं ये question पूछता हूँ, तो we venture into something called as resolution of a force. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So what is resolution of force? So जरा देखो फिर से I am going to apply the parallelogram law. So I am going to draw a line parallel to x2 from tip of r bar. I am going to draw a line parallel to x1 from tip of r bar, and I am going to call this force as p bar. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
I am going to call this force as r bar, q bar. So what are p bar and q bar? P bar and q bar are resolutions of r bar along x1 and x2 direction. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So resolution of r bar along x1 and x2 direction means if I add those resolution components, they will result into r bar. Happy? Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what do I call this p bar as? Now I can call this p bar as resolution of r bar along x2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
I can call this q bar as resolution of this r bar along x1 such that r x1 bar plus r x2 bar shall result into r bar. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, if the angle between x1 and x2 is 90 degree, then that parallelogram becomes rectangle. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So then we call those components as rectangular we call that process as rectangular resolution. कब बोलेंगे rectangular resolution? When x1 और x2 दो directions के बीच में angle 90 है, and I seek two forces along x1 and x2 which add up to r bar, then वो दोनों components को हम बोलते हैं rectangular components. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And when do we call them as non-rectangular components? When the angle between x1 and x2 is not 90 degree. Then the parallelogram remains parallelogram. It doesn't become rectangle. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is in short the concept of resolution of a force. What is resolution of force? Resolution of force is the reverse process of addition. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we will take forward this discussion in the next class. What is our style? I am not going to give you notes as such. You have to make your own notes based on the discussion that we have in class. However, I will be sharing this lecture boards with you all, and I will also be uploading all these video lectures on YouTube. So all those who join this division late, they can always refer back to earlier lectures. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I also have to create two things. One is Google Classroom and another is the link for your everyday attendance. Google Form link for your everyday attendance. For today, what you can do is in chat box, you can mention your roll number and name, and then you can leave the meeting. We are closing for today. If anyone has any doubt, you can raise it now.